You never told me, Mom. Back then, the thing I wanted you to say. The words I needed to hear.
Young man, you too can become a hero.
Dreams can become reality. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that this is the story of how I became the world's greatest hero.
You are listening to StudioMguyvR's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast.
What is going down? It is your boy, StudioMguyvR, and you are listening to StudioMguyvR's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. Guys, welcome to the show. If you're new to the show, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. We talk about anime, we talk about video games, we talk about nerd culture. So you come to the right place if that's what you are looking for. Let me start out, guys, by apologizing, because if you're listening to this podcast, you're listening to it late. I usually drop the podcast every Monday morning, early morning to be exact. And I was having some computer issues. Technically, I still am having computer issues. You know, I have a Mac and I have a PC and I'm struggling. They're older and I'm trying to get some things together on it, especially my PC. It needs to be updated and all this crazy shit. But that's pretty much been the bane of my existence the last couple of weeks, but I'm working on it. And yeah, that's probably going to change real soon. But apologize in advance, guys. Sorry for the late podcast. You're probably listening to this, if you are, you know, in the afternoon, maybe like 3 or 4 o'clock p.m. But hey, better late than never. Anyway, guys, we got a few things to talk about this episode. And one of the things I want to talk about is I finally had some fucking time to go catch this fucking My Hero Academia movie. I've been wanting to go see it. I just haven't had the fucking time. And yeah, I went to go see it and I fucking loved it. I'm going to talk a little bit about that movie and some other things, man. We got Castlevania out here. We got Final Fantasy VII out here and a lot more, man. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was this movie, this My Hero Academia movie. And yeah, man, I mean, they do it to me every fucking time, guys. Every time. I love it. And I'm going to, you know, get into it, break it down, all of that good shit. So yeah, let's get into the show. Before I get started on My Hero Academia, though, I want to talk a little bit about some news that I heard about. I guess I heard whispers about, but apparently this is now confirmed and this is an actual thing that is going to happen. And I'm talking about The Last of Us. Big fan of The Last of Us, guys. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there listening are. The game was phenomenal. Everybody's anticipating the second game. I cannot fucking wait. One of the greatest games, you know, story-wise, ever made, in my opinion, in the video game world. But I just got news. Well, it's probably been out there a little while, but me personally just got a hold of the news that they're actually doing a live action show about this shit. And it's going to be on HBO. And yeah, man, it's crazy. I don't know who's going to be playing these characters yet. I mean, there's a lot of speculation out here in these streets, but nobody really knows for sure. It's going to be a doozy, man. And I cannot wait to see what this is going to do. I know HBO is going to do a bang up job on this. And also getting wind of who's going to be working on this game. One of the people working on the game is no other than The Last of Us writer and creative director, Neil Druckmann. So if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, I'm sorry. But yes, he's basically, he's worked on, you know, the previous game. So with that being said, I mean, I have no worries. Hopefully they get everything down and everything comes out sweet. I think it will. And usually when you do stuff like this, man, you have to include these guys who are responsible for the success of whatever it is they're trying to, mimic in another form. And I think that's the best thing you can do. Don't go get somebody who, didn't have, had no hand in producing, the previous product. It just, sometimes it doesn't really work well. Sometimes it does, you get lucky, but most of the time, it doesn't. So now that they have this guy working on this part of the team, I feel a lot more comfortable with that. And I'm looking forward to the show. There's no release date in sight. It's probably early stages, of course, because we don't even know who's playing these characters. So, we probably won't see anything on this until maybe 2021, late 2021, probably. And yeah, that's probably being generous, but hey, it's on the way. It's coming. That's all I care about. And yeah, let's move on. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about, guys, is Google Stadia. Yeah, I know that name's, makes me feel dirty, but Google Stadia is basically doing so bad technically that these motherfuckers, man, they are now giving pro subscriptions away to, I guess, Chromecast customers, for, I guess, 90 days or so is what they're doing. It seemed like they were kind of trying to do that, quietly, sneaking shit under the rug. I don't know, because when people are in the press, I'm talking about, ask them about, how do they feel about Google Stadia not really taking off. They put on a mask and pretend that everything is all good and, their shit doesn't stink. So apparently that's not the case. And I guess, as somebody who works for a company like that, you probably have to do some shit like that. You know what I mean? Or at least try to fool, the audience or whatever, because you don't want everybody to know that, hey, yo, we made a mistake. We failed. We didn't have, the right team, or whatever the fuck the case may be. But it's looking like, to me, at least with Google Stadia, it's looking like they weren't prepared. And I don't think that the higher ups, in Google Stadia knew anything about video games. Honestly, you just, I have to say that, because who else would make this kind of fucking flop? Who would make this mistake? If you really put everything down on paper and analyzed all this shit from a gamer's perspective, you would see that this was dead in the water. It was already fucking dead. And I'm assuming that somebody who doesn't, familiarize themselves with games are making or has made a lot of these decisions. They're looking at numbers, they're looking at this and looking at that. And, they're smoking scrolls, they're drinking sake, they're doing all this shit, man. They have to be. They either have to be drinking lots of sake, smoking Indo, rolled up in a scroll-like device, or, even snorting cocaine or something, in my opinion, because either that or you just don't know about games and somebody hired you because you went to Harvard or Yale or, you know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I just, that's the only conclusion I can come up with, because, man, these decisions are terrible. I mean, the way that they are pricing these games, the games are older games. The games are easily accessible through other, means or the platforms for way cheaper. And you actually get to own these games. With Google Stadia, you don't get any of that shit. And it's a joke to me. It's a joke to everybody, pretty much everybody. It's a fucking joke now. And they've become nothing but a fucking meme. So if they haven't learned their lesson, I mean, I know they have a lot of money. Google has money for fucking years and years, but eventually you're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror and make some decisions. You're going to have to, cut ties, take your losses, and just walk away. You know what I mean? Pick up that L, put it in your pocket, and walk down the street, man, and do something different. Because this right here, man, is crazy. Nobody wants to be a part of Google Stadia. There's no publishing company that is, chopping at the bit to be a part of this, because they see there's no end. They see that there's no win, on the horizon for this platform right now. It's just not. And streaming is not where it needs to be, in my humble opinion, to take advantage of the things that they're trying to do. It's just not. And then what you're giving in return for what you're paying for is just, it's not People aren't ready for that. They're not trying to see that. I'd say, 90% of people aren't ready for that. Some people don't give a fuck, but that's very small. And those are casual gamers. If you're an actual gamer like me and a lot of you guys listening, you're going to see that, Google Stadia is simply, it just needs to be taken out to pasture and killed, shot and buried. At least right now, because we're not there yet. You know what I mean? Maybe 2025, start flirting with the idea when technology is where it needs to be. And I haven't even talked about, all of the fucking bandwidth that it sucks up, from people. So if you have this and you're trying to play video games on a regular basis, you're going to hit your fucking cap. You're not even going to get to finish your games. You're not going to get to play what you want to play because you're going to hit a fucking data cap and you won't even be able to get past that. So, it's just crazy. And then everybody, doesn't have great internet. There's a lot of people who have terrible internet. I have friends who have terrible internet because the area that they live in, they have the best package, but it still doesn't matter. If your area sucks, then you're up shit creek. And that's a lot of places. You know what I mean? So you can't have access to this everywhere. When they made this decision, they should have thought about all of these things, in advance. And if they would have, in my humble opinion, I would be saying, yo, we're not ready for this. You know what I mean? If we can't get everybody, an even scale, experience with this shit, we don't need to do it. And evidently they didn't. All they saw were dollar signs. They thought that, because they're Google, maybe that people would just run to them like an old Whitney Houston song. I don't know, man, but it's not fucking working. And as you can see now, if you were to walk into a Google Stadia office, I can almost guarantee you that there will be empty bottles of sake laying all around the offices, especially the higher up offices. And you would definitely smell weed. You would definitely smell endo and probably cocaine powder sprinkled throughout the building. But hey, it is what it is. They buried themselves. That's all I can say about it. Anyway, let's get off of Google Stadia and let's start with something else. All right. If you guys don't know, if you guys watch Netflix, then if you're a fan of anime, then you probably know that Castlevania season 3 is out. Yes. And I have not watched it. It's not because I don't want to watch it. Please believe me. It's just because I don't have the fucking time as of late to watch it. I barely had enough time to go see this My Hero Academia movie, man. And I'm kicking myself for not seeing it sooner. That point. But yes, this Castlevania shit looks great. I've seen the previews of it. I cannot wait to get into it. I will probably dive in this week sometime. And yeah, I will definitely readdress that one next week, hopefully, if not the week after. And then I can start discussing this series because, if it's already on season 3, the success has been great. And I just can't wait to see what they're going to bring to the table this season. Yeah. And I think we got more episodes too, if I'm not mistaken. So that's also a dope thing. Always good to have more episodes in this 8-episode age we're living in right now. And for a lot of these shows and stuff. But anyway, I will be bringing that up later. But also, guys, the Final Fantasy VII Remake is finally out. Now, I didn't hear anything about this. I was looking for it. And then I guess when I turned my head, they fucking put it out because, I saw a friend of mine playing it. Shout out to Wonder Soul. And I said, oh, shit, it's out. You know what I mean? I've been looking for this game to drop. I didn't hear anything about it. And now it's just here. And I have not had time to play that either. So I did download it. It is sitting on my PS4 and I will eventually get to it. And I can't wait to talk about that either because I've heard nothing but rave reviews on this demo and I cannot wait. I'll probably be doing some content on it, put it on the channel, just for shits and giggles, all of that. So yeah, man, cannot wait. It's out there though. If you guys didn't know, go to fucking PlayStation, turn it on and download that fucking demo. All right, here's one that a lot of people may, be excited about. Are there any Samurai Jack fans out here in these animated streets? If you are, then get excited because Samurai Jack is working on a new game and not just your run-of-the-mill $20, $30 game, an actual fully developed game, a game that pretty much the developers are basically saying they are taking this very seriously. They don't want to put out, a bubblegum game, a money grab game. They want to make this shit real. They want to appeal to all of the fucking Samurai Jack fans out there. And they're going to do everything in their power to make this reality. And I believe them. I really do. I think that the game is going to be pretty dope, and I definitely want to get my hands on it when it's done. There's no release date, right now scheduled, but it is in the works, guys. I thought I thought I'd mention that because Samurai Jack used to be the shit. I know a lot of people still love Samurai Jack. I haven't been keeping up with it personally, but I definitely will play this game. I'll tell you that. And I cannot wait. I will definitely divulge more information when I get it to you guys. So definitely be looking out for that. That's going to be a doozy, man. That's definitely going to be a doozy. Potential sleeper hit for anybody out there looking or not even looking for this game. So I thought I'd mention that to you guys. Also, let's get on some Nintendo shit, just a little taste. And with that taste, I'm talking about Mario Day. Mario Day is going to be March 10th. So, if you're into, Mario Day and you're looking for some sales, then that's what you want to do. You want to go to the eShop. You want to check out some of the sales that these guys have going down. A lot of games are $40, games that would never be priced $40. Because if you don't know about Nintendo is greedy. They do not change their prices often, especially on their main flagship titles. Those very rarely get changed or very rarely get dropped. I think the Breath of the Wild is still $60. You know what I mean? Full price games. And that was a released fucking game. So that was a day one release. So like I said, when you see these sales, you definitely want to take advantage of some of these, man. There's a lot of great titles out there for $40. And, if you plan on getting something that might be the ticket for me, man, I would love to, pick up Luigi's Mansion. And hopefully that's one of the games because I still haven't had time to play that. I haven't played my Switch, guys. I'm just being honest. I haven't played my Switch in months. And I go through these fucking spurts, when you get into certain games, you'll fucking play that and you'll fall into that rabbit hole and you'll be there for the foreseeable future, anywhere from 2 to 3 months. So right now, I'm currently just on the PlayStation, on the Sony bandwagon, playing that shit. There was a time, though. Don't get it twisted. There was a time, if you guys listen long enough, you would remember that I was playing nothing but Nintendo Switch. And that's also awesome to me because you can go from one to the other and get lost in that, So I think the next time I do get a chance to play some Switch, I'll probably be playing it for quite some time. And, that's what happened last time. So I want to revisit some of the old titles that I've been playing, some of my favorites. And like I said before, jump on some new ones as well. Case in point, Luigi's Mansion 3. But yeah, man, so I need to even just turn it on and see what's going on at the eShop, see what games have new games have came because they have so many games, a lot of them being, what am I trying to say? What's the word I'm looking for? A lot of them being indie titles, which, I love some good indie games, man. That's why, that's what I plan to play most on the Switch, of course, the flagship games, but then also you want to, basically give these developers some love, some of these other indie companies. But anyway, moving on from that, just thought I'd mention the Mario Day thing. There's a lot of Nintendo Switch fans out there, Nintendo fans in general. I am one of them. And yeah, I just haven't had time to play it. And, I've just been on Sony as of late. All right, guys. Now I want to talk about My Hero Academia. Yes, man. Went to go see this movie Sunday. Caught it at a matinee. If you follow me on Twitter, I'm sorry, if you follow me on Instagram, you'd see the ticket stub I posted because I was so happy after the movie, man, that I don't know what to say. All I can say is, man, if you haven't seen this movie and you're a fan of the series, you have to watch it. There's no question in my mind. You have to see this movie. And if you saw the first movie, I saw the first movie. I have the first movie. The first movie was great. Fantastic. All of that shit. And this one is even better. Okay. Man, it's a lot of growth in this movie. It's just a lot of things that happened in this movie that I think you guys would appreciate. Anybody, any anime fan would appreciate. You know what I mean? In my opinion, the characters, Jesus Christ, the characters were so awesome in this game, in this movie. You know what I mean? There are really, there's 4 characters. There's 3 main villains, I guess. The leader, if you will, his name is Nine. And then you have You also have a character named Mummy, a character named Slice, and a character who goes by Shimra. That's what they call him. I think he also goes by Chojuro Khan, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But anyway, that was my favorite character in this movie. He was an awesome character, guys. I'm just going to call him Chimera because it's easier, and you can also go by that name. It's an AKA name for him online. But it's basically about the crew, the class of 1A going, they get an assignment to basically go to this island and basically take over the duties for the heroes who've pretty much gotten old and retired until they can find replacements for them. So they're, it's a small island. There's nothing that ever happens there. It's just, small tier crimes, finding cats, finding, somebody's brother who got missing, at a local event or some shit like that, things of that nature. Very doable shit, you know what I mean, for high school students who are, studying to become heroes. But, the shit gets really, really, crazy, if I'm using that word correctly, when these characters decide to, invade this island because there's somebody on that island who happens to be a little boy who has a perk or quirk, quirk, and he needs it. Okay. And it's not relatively anything special. It's a cell regeneration quirk, which and I guess you can say it depends on how you look at it. As far as being a hero, it's not necessarily, a quirk that people, tend to look for, for someone who's trying to become a hero or looking for a hero, but it definitely does come in handy. And this is pretty much the basis of the movie. This is what this guy is looking for. The character's named Nine. And he's kind of like, he reminds me of, the demon, the basically, man, why am I fumbling? He reminds me of another character who had multiple quirks. Okay, All Might's nemesis, basically, who had multiple quirks. He could steal your quirks and shit like that. This guy can steal your quirk. You know what I mean? He can absorb your shit, and he can only hold, I think, 8 or 9 quirks. I'm kind of fuzzy on the number, but he needs one of those spaces, to put that special quirk that boy has in his body, because when he uses those quirks, those other quirks, it basically is damaging his body. It's tearing his body up. So with that cell regeneration quirk, he would be complete, and he would damn near be unstoppable, if he had that shit. So, this little boy and his sister, on this island, it's just a crazy ass movie, man. The sister, she's not crazy about heroes. She's always testing them throughout the movie, doing certain things to try to see, how well they adjust and how well they do. She just doesn't believe in heroes right now. She has some kind of, complication with it for whatever reason. But anyway, the movie, all I can tell you is it starts off, pretty My Hero Academia-ish, kind of slow a little bit. And then it builds up, you get to know some of the characters on the island and, get to see what all the other students are doing, and how they're adjusting to this assignment that they're doing and all of that. And like I said, this island, man, it's nothing but students there. Like they left 1A, class 1A there all by themselves. There's no supervisors, no chaperones, no nothing. They're the only ones there, and they're left there to take care of all this by themselves, because they technically have to learn how to, be put in situations like this and learn how to get it done on their own. And that's, like I said, it's a growth type of movie. It's another movie that they can add another notch in their belt, moving up, learning, as a team, supporting each other. And it's just making them that much tighter, of a class. You know what I mean? So it's just a great movie. It really is. And the characters, like I said before, some of the villains, man, especially, okay, Slice is a female character who, she has an ability, this crazy ability to make her hair and she can turn everything to knives. She's blades everywhere. That's her, That's her ability. That's why she's called Slice. You know, she can fuck you up. She can cut you up to a billion pieces. Mummy is a character who basically is reminds me of a mum, like basically a mummy kind of. His abilities are like he works with a lot of like I guess mummy wrappings or whatever you want to fucking call it. They're color of red, and basically he can wrap things up, things that are lifeless, you know, like maybe a car or a fucking couch. And once wrapped up in this, he can bring them to life and basically control them, make them do whatever he wants, bend them to his will, if you will. No pun intended. But yeah, he can do that. And, you know, he was, to me, the least interested character to me. You know, he looks kind of like a ninja. He looks kind of cool and all of that. But, you know, Slice for me was pretty dope, you know, the female character. And then also, you know, Nine, of course, was the dude. But the character that stole the show for me, the character that I just, man, I really love this character as a villain. He goes by the name of Chimera, however you want to pronounce it. This guy looks like he looks like a dog. Okay. Dog, half human. That's the closest I can that's the closest I know. He's got dreads too. And he wears a trench coat and he smokes a fucking cigar. This motherfucker is fucking wet. And if you guys don't know that term, it's a term I created, and it's WETT, and it means amazing or highly skilled. Okay. Yes. When you hear me say wet, that is what I'm referring to. A lot of my longtime listeners know what the fuck I'm talking about. They know that word well. But anyway, this guy, man, I really like him. I really do. There were some epic fight scenes in this movie surrounding this guy. He has super strength. He's just like, he's the muscle of the crew, and he's just so fucking strong, man. And he definitely has an ability to, you know, transform. He has a Super Saiyan form, if you will, you want to call it that. Kind of reminds me of Frieza's, you know, second transformation, if you will, in the Frieza saga, you know. But I don't know, man. He's awesome. He's just awesome. Some of the best fight scenes, some of the things he does in here is fucking ridiculous. Yeah. He does some shit. He gets into it with Tokoyami. They had there was some epic scenes in this fucking movie. But anyway, guys, definitely just go see the movie, man. But anyway, we're talking about Midori and Bakugo, man. These two motherfuckers, man. I mean, it just made me like Bakugo that much more. This is the movie that made me really, really start liking Bakugo, because that much more. I liked him, but he just wasn't. You know, my favorite characters are All Might and, you know, Deku. Those are my favorites in this series, and I don't typically go for, you know, the mainstream guy. I usually go for, you know, the side characters and everything like that. You guys know, who listen to me, you know, Tien is one of my favorite characters from Dragon Ball. Okay. Vegeta is one of my favorite characters, you know, not Goku, you know what I mean? So when I saw this show, you know, this is one of the first shows where I can I really gravitate towards these guys. I don't know why. I just do. But this movie, you know, I really have a little bit more respect for Bakugo in this show. He's kind of like the Vegeta of My Hero Academia. You know what I mean? You could kind of say that. You know what I mean? You could definitely go there and say that. But those two guys together, you know, they did some amazing shit in this movie. And it gave me goosebumps, and it made my eyes water up. I'm going to tell you one thing. Anytime you watch a My Hero movie or, you know, an epic episode, I'm telling you right now, you better have some tissue ready, or you better fucking, you know, be prepared to look into the air until that water dissipates and evaporates so it doesn't fall down on your face. Because My Hero, that's probably one of the biggest things or better reasons why, you know, I love that anime so much, because it's the only anime that I've seen that makes me, you know, that emotional. And conveys those feelings, you know, within my fucking soul. It feels like it's the only one. On a scale to 1 to 10, I mean, it's a fucking 11. The only other anime that has gotten that close or gotten, anywhere in the same ballpark was Naruto in certain scenes that took place there. You know what I mean? But Naruto was like maybe a 6 on that scale. Maybe you could flirt and say it was 7 on certain parts, but My Hero's just like 11. I'm just telling you guys. And it does it every fucking time. Every fucking time. All I'm going to say is there's some spoilers in this movie, guys, that I'm talking about here. And I'm sorry if you don't want to listen to the rest of it. I should have said this before, but, just stop listening. But there's a scene in this movie where Deku and Bakugo have to team up to fight, 9. This guy who's stealing all these fucking quirks. And the only way to beat this motherfucker, man, is that they had to, Deku basically gave Bakugo his fucking quirk. He transferred it to him because he was spent. He'd had nothing left. And he said, I have to do this because if I don't give it to him, he's going to, we're done. You know what I mean? Deku is so, man, he's such a selfless person to the extreme that he would even give the one thing up that he was searching for his whole entire young little life. The thing he loved most above all and everything. He was willing to give that up to save a person. And that's the definition of a true hero. He's always had it in him, but to see him go through that and do that, man, that shit made my eyes water. I'm not going to lie to you guys. The feeling that went through me as I was watching that scene, I was just like, yo, what the fuck? This shit is crazy. I'm getting, goosebumps now just talking about this shit. Okay. It's so many epic moments in this movie. I don't want to give you guys everything, because you just have to see it for yourself. There just was so many of them. You know what I mean? It's so many. I thought it was over. He even said it. Goodbye, goodbye to his quirk. He basically thought it was over. He thought once he passed it on, it was a done deal. And the crazy thing about it was at the end of the movie, towards the end of the movie, when the professional heroes finally got wind of what was going on and they made it. And thanks to Deku and Bakugo, they were able to hold off and defeat this guy, and save the day. But the heroes finally came and basically cleaned up the rest of the mess. And they basically rescued all the students, made sure they were okay. And as Bakugo and Deku were laying there unconscious, Deku wakes up in, All Might's lap and basically apologizes and told him he had to give his quirk away to Bakugo because he had no other choice. And he was basically hoping, apologizing and saying he hoped he did the right thing. He had to do it. And, of course, All Might got emotional and basically said, yes, that is why I gave this to you. And I knew you was going to, do what you had to do and use it correctly and use it wisely. And he basically touched both their hands and the quirk ran through Deku's body, as if to say that, it didn't go anywhere. For whatever reason, it didn't fucking leave his body. Supposedly, Bakugo passed out before it was able to fully transfer to his body. And he doesn't even remember even getting it. His memory has been, lost. So, on that note, I'm still at a loss. I don't know if he's going to keep, because they're making it seem as if he's still going to have this quirk, and I'm talking about Bakugo. So, man, this is gonna be crazy. These two guys though, these two kids, man, they're a trip. They're like night and day in a sense, and a lot of things how they handle things, but they're both heroes through and through, man. And you see that in this movie, they convey that in this movie. And I cannot, stress enough that you guys have to go see this. You just have to. And also there's a scene in the movie where Deku basically about to lose his quirk because Nine actually grabbed him and he was trying to steal his quirk, and then he dropped him on the ground and said, "What? I can't take it. This kid has multiple quirks. He has another fucking quirk." So, if you're a My Hero Academia fan, and you read the manga or whatever, then you probably know. I haven't read the manga. I'm trying to stay away from the manga, but sometimes you can't avoid certain things. And, he has more than one quirk, guys. So it's going to be interesting to see what that quirk is. It's going to be interesting to see how they grow and what happens and what transpires, in the years to come and in the months to come with these characters. And like I said, if you're a fan of My Hero Academia, you just have to go see it. You just have to. And you owe it to yourself to watch this movie. You do. And when it comes out on DVD, guess what? I'm going to have it as well. I just love the series that much, and it's becoming really one of my favorites, man. It's really showing me some stuff. I mean, you got Fire Force, you got My Hero Academia out here. There's some good ones, man. There really are some good ones, and Vinland Saga. It's some great ones. So I'm just so happy, so excited to be a fan of anime, and it's movies like this and it's things like this that make it even better. And the fact that it was at a theater, and it was at multiple theaters, and it had multiple times, it made me feel a lot better as well. It was, it's limited, but it wasn't as limited as it used to be. Each year, each time one comes out, it becomes more and more relevant. And I think that's the direction we're going in the future of anime. And I love it. I mean, I love the fact that animes eventually will become, household names and super releases and beating out other movies that are out here. The fandom is growing. More and more people are gravitating. The people I saw in the theater, I saw a mother with her daughter in there. I mean, it's crazy. Even the lady, the girl who, I got my ticket from at the ticket counter was basically telling me, "Oh my God, you're going to see My Hero Academia. I really want to go see that movie." And in my mind, I'm like, "Well, you work at a movie theater. I'm sure you can make some time to go see it." But just, the fandom of My Hero Academia is just in the air. And, that's a good thing for anime. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. And with that, guys, being said, I'm going to get my ass up out of here. I want to also apologize one more time for the late podcast release. I usually release in the morning. I'm sorry about that, guys. I still love you. I hope you still love me. And yeah, man, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, this episode. If you want to reach out to me and you want to talk and discuss anime, maybe even possibly become a guest on the show sometime, you can hit me on all these fucking platforms. I'm available on Twitter at StudioMguyvR. I'm available on Instagram at StudioMguyvR79. Check out the Facebook page as well at StudioMguyvR, man. And also check out the YouTube channel, man. I'm dropping content pretty much every fucking day. That's StudioMguyvR TV. You can check me out there. Also, if you're into merch, you're into nerd culture, I know you are because you're listening, you can check out Beautiful Nerds. That's beautifulnerds.com, www.beautifulnerds. Nerds is spelled Nurdz. You can check them out, guys. They have new things every fucking month. So if you love all that type of stuff, then you should definitely give them a shout. And yeah, buy something, man. Show your love. With that being said, guys, now I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for listening, all the newcomers. If you're listening to the show, I want to thank you for downloading it, for streaming it while you're jogging, while you're going to work, coming home from work, whatever you're doing. If you're listening to this podcast, thank you for your time. I love you, and I hope to see you again. This is Studio MacGyver, and you have been listening to Studio MacGyver's Dragon Ball and Video Game Podcast. See you next time.